back to NLC Division 2. I don't know what that intro was. It's Viper and Jamada bringing you Munster Rugby Gaming up against Rising Dawn Esports in our fourth match of the day. Two teams who have already grabbed themselves a win so far this split, looking to go 2-0 in the first 2 days. Again, I want to say first week, but it's a super week. Tell your friends, tell your mother, it's a super week. We're back on Saturday. There's going to be more NLC Division 2. Your mother might not care. She might not watch League of Legends. She might be a Div 1 woman rather than a Div 2 woman, you know? Big fan of Nariki, I suppose. But Jamada, what are we expecting from these two teams?
I mean, I think for me, we saw two very, very dominant victories for both Munster and Rising Dawn. I think specifically Rising Dawn. I think their game was the fastest on the day on the opening day of the split. So we didn't really get to see too much other than Vankstead is still very much Vankstead. He will very quickly, come back if he falls behind, and he is, as always, still very much, this unrelenting aggressive force. And the rest of Rising Dawn around them are happy to play around that. I was very much also impressed with FireL. I think his pathing was particularly good. He was so efficient at farming up and then using the strength of his champion. It was on the Lydia. I want to see if he can get his hands on that yet again. I would expect Munster to probably ban that one away, looking towards the Champion Select.
We're going to be jumping into that Champions Select pretty soon, but for Munster Rugby Gaming, how do you expect them to play out this game? What's your expectations of like the how they go about grabbing themselves another win here?
Latch movement, man. It has to be Latch. That's my expectation. I think they're going to probably play towards the bottom side through Harbo as well. Harbo, actually, funnily enough, I believe, unless I am mistaken, is playing his match from the Dusty facility. I saw him. He was there earlier, given a tweet I saw from Denvoxnate. I don't know what Harbo looks like, so unless he was lying to me, then I believe he is playing from there. But also Skua, in particular, was very impressive to me, I think, in his matchup up in the top side. Seemed very, very comfortable and confident. And we'll see whether or not we can get that same repeat performance as this time around. Unlike day one, Rising Dawn are getting some of their strongest individual champions banned away. Vankstead's Camille gone, Denzel's Akshan also taken off the table. And from the red side, we're seeing Lulu and Lilia banned away. So I'm expecting to see one of these power picks slip through. The Gwen, the Lucian, the Talia. One of these champions is going to make it through here. And we'll see who wants to prioritize what, as we've already seen a lot of these champions slip through the drafts today.
Hear me out. Latch's Twitch is open.
I think they will go. Yeah, I don't know. I personally think Gwen is the most broken champion on patch. Most people in these situations are actually picking up the Wukong over the Gwen, which I don't know how much I agree or disagree with it. His Twitch is up, and they do have. Oh no, they wouldn't lock in FireL's Karthus. They're gonna lock in FireL's Karthus. We're getting a meme game here today, guys. I think that's what's happening. Well, not a meme game. It's gonna be a banger game. Limitless is also gonna go for the Aphelios. It's not a pick that we see too often on 12-10 so far. But hyper carries, have kind of been the name of the game. Is associated in that category of Aphelios. Once he gets all of his items online, I think in a patch like this, has an enchant support behind him. But Lulu banned away. Karma looks like it's going to be snagged away as well. And with Renal also on the ban bench, I'm curious to know what Fine Forever is actually going to want to take into this. What Latch is also going to be willing to take into the Aphelios. Knowing his matchup is definitely a big deal for Latch, and I expect he will take it. Twitch.
Twitch.
If we want it, will we get? Not too sure. Jinx being hovered. It's the standard thing for most AD carries. Maybe not for Latch, but we will actually end up getting it. And now over to Rising Dawn for their final pick. They're looking at Wukong. They're looking at Karma in these flex roles. Karma on this patch has almost always been going into support role. So maybe Rising Dawn will just pick up their full bottom lane here for Limitless and Fine Forever. Most of the enchanters or the S tier ones are gone. Will they default to anything lower on that, or will they go for something a little more traditional in the Thresh? And it seems like the answer is yes. In this sense. So they're going to give him the safety net. They're going to provide a lot of setup towards the bottom side of the map. But the question is, will they be able to use it?
Yeah, I mean, it looks like they've gone straight into the playbook of spring 2022. FireL straight from the playbook of 2019 with the Karthus jungle. But we know what he can do on this champion. It's very, very scary. And now it's going to be bans from mid and top lanes. You've got to imagine. We have seen the Karthus played in the mid lane, but it was by Singularity. So there is a huge asterisk next to it because sometimes they be drafted,
Yes.
Singularity do be drafted.
Yeah, I agree. Sometimes Singularity draft, and that's all they do on their match days. Yeah, top lane solo laners. I think that's just gonna be the name of the game here. I don't expect that Scrudy won't be piloting this Wukong, so maybe the Aatrox is actually banned away from Skewer after his day one performance. I wouldn't have been surprised, but it's actually going to be the Akali instead. So I'm wondering what Vankstead is willing to put out on the top side, as well as the bottom side. Seeing the Camille taken away, maybe he doesn't want a boring lane. That would be my expectation for his thought process on it. But Yone being banned away, what else will we see taking off of Denzel's champion pool? A lot of AD champions in his pool. Vankstead will have his Rift removed away, just in a bid to not see it end up on the Rift in this match, which I expect to be, given the drafts that we're seeing so far, a complete bloodbath. And Tryndamere, what more could you ask for if you're asking for a bloodbath?
He's going to be, well, Trinidad going to be probably up on the top side, just split pushing away. And now the question is, what is Skewer going to want to answer it with? Is he going to want to go for something that matches it 1-to-1? Is he going to want to go for something team fight orientated? People have said that Malphite's not necessarily a bad matchup into this because the laning's okay and you get to just go through a team fight and make sure that the Trinidad has to respond. But it looks like it might be the Wukong top with Ivan, the friendly tree man, locked in for Screedy.
I would hold on to reservations here because solo lane Ivern was, of course, good on 12-9. I saw a couple of people talking about how lane Ivern, or just Ivern in general, kind of sucks on 12-10. Right, a lot of his core items got hit, like Moonstone. Shielding in general was also nerfed. Gwen has made it through to P5 somehow.
Heck, he remembered.
Is going to have not only a Karma shielding her, but potentially also an Ivern in back pocket. And all of those champions can go in different lanes. And Bankstead is hovering Darius. And
do it. Vags said do it.
why not? Why not just give it to us? To be honest with you, I wouldn't be too surprised if he does it. And Denzel is the one that ends up piloting the Tryndamere instead of, there you go. We get the Tryndamere mid for Denzel. Vankstead on his Darius. We've seen his Darius before. And sometimes it does some pretty nasty things.
Important point before we get off the Champions Select Street. Look how angry Rising Dawn's comp is. Look just how angry they all are.
That's an angry composition.
And I mean, I think it's going to be played quite angrily because you've got Darius, a Tryndamere mid into Ivern. That
I see blood.
I don't know the nuances of that matchup, but it can't be good for Ivern.
Well, actually, I would suspect it's not too bad in the sense of Tryndamere should never really be able to kill you or run you down. I think the mid lane is too short for that. Dive you at level 6 would have been very possible until this patch, maybe, because, if you're trying to tank tower from, mostly full HP, potentially you're not really going to be able to tank as many tower shots as you would be able to before to give you more time in that dive. But who knows, with Requiem available, I'm not gonna count anything out here from Rising Dawn. I think Munster have a couple more S tier champions realistically, right? You've got the Wukong, you have the Gwen, the Jinx, also one of the most powerful AD carries on the patch. Karma, one of the most powerful champions in slot, and they rounded out with the Ivern to sort of just buff up the additional utility. Ivern does great into dealing with these low range slow bruisers, but also buffing up bruisers. I think for a very long time people misconceptualized how Ivern was supposed to be worked and utilized, right? Give him a hyper carry and just let him sit on the hyper carries back and shield them. But his shield works best when he's got champions that are diving in so that the shield can slow down and allow for these divers that he's got on his team to stick to their target. So we'll see how Munster fare with this fairly unorthodox mid lane. We don't see too many teams these days really run it. Of course, had its fair share of popularity early on in Season 12. But 12-10, I've heard things that it isn't as strong as it was before. But how strong will it be in the hands of Harbo is the question.
We're about to find out as we make our way onto the Rift for the 4th time today. Munster Rugby Gaming on the blue side up against Rising Dawn Esports on the red. Rising Dawn new to the league. They've already picked themselves up a first win. And Vankstead is going to be rooted up, caught napping a little bit. Does only have the ghost and he's going to have to pop it to get away. Will be able to do so though, but that's a great start for Munster Rugby.
Yeah, picking up the ghost means that he shouldn't have as high a kill threat on to Skewer as IRL. He's going to farm up the first strike. How much gold? 13. It's a mental advantage on Harbo. As could be a pretty big deal, honestly. Yeah, he's going to have to pop a pot on the first wave, losing so much HP to make that topside play work. And Firewall is picking on him. See how it affects the mid lane as Denzel will have DD shield and just in general a lot of sustain to kind of just chill out in the mid lane, not have to really deal with too much shenanigans from Harbor. And I expect the mid lane will be a bit of a farm fest. But Denzel doing a great job just getting that spin and slash in, getting a little bit of trade power down onto Habu where you can. Just try and get that pressure in early whilst you can at this level as Latch and Becky will find themselves a very decent trade onto Limitless, but of course will have Severum for the first couple of waves, so can heal up and 3 pots off of that longsword start.
In the bot lane, as we were talking about, we've got the Jinx Karma, which is a lane that's pretty nice on the current patch because you've got that enchanter who can support, and Karma provides a little bit more aggressively early than a lot of the other enchanters do. With that, obviously, Mantra Q doing a bit of damage. You might even get an example there as he throws it down. The Zap will also land, and Limitless takes a beating. But the Thresh on the other side is a champion that makes a lot of sense with the Aphelios, but someone who's not been too popular in recency.
Yeah, I mean, of course, again, you know, Thresh really, really good at setting up early plays with the Death Sentence, with Flay, with Lantern, and it just feels like a lot of teams are just defaulting to the Enchanters because they know the game pace is a lot slower than it used to be. Not as easy to make plays happen as frequently underneath tower or in the jungle. So teams opt into the scaling as...
No, he's looking for the heal. We'll be able to get it! It's Vangadif in the top side.
Vangadif in the top side. Gets his ghost blown in the first.
And IRL.
IRL is dead.
Fine forever. Might not be so fine though. Gets the flame, but doesn't land it onto anyone. But a little bit too fast. Limitless moving forward. Now Scrooty trying to scramble away. We'll be able to do so. Looking to get back in. Actually just going towards the Grom. As you see Pecky popping that cone. But this fight, this game, skirmishing all over.
Yeah, skirmishing all over. I mean, I'm expecting a... I mean, you know, I say this a lot on Division 1, where sometimes you get really messy games, and I will just openly refer to them as scrim games. Now, there's an argument to be made that many Div 2 games look like scrim games. We'll hold that point, and Scrooty will just aggress onto them. Like, should be able to walk out. You know, you can make the argument that many Div 2 games perhaps look like scrim games. I feel like this is going to look like a blitz scrim. You know, any players familiar with the concept, you're playing the first 15, maybe 20 minutes at most to practice your early game. We're going to see a whole lot of blood as Pecky going to get the root.
Time forever. Catches the minion instead of the champion. One more auto might have been enough. It was a crit, but it didn't land like that. And Fine River has a pot running, so should be okay as Latch is going to put some damage down onto Limitless as well. This game, both of these teams, they want to get aggressive. They want to be taking a fight to each other. Grudy's being aggressive into Fat IRL's jungle, but Vangstead is going to step forward and say, hey, that's Karthus' jungle, but he's not like super interested in making that point, so he does back away towards his own lane as Scroody will manage to put some damage down to Fat IRL. Flashing forward, Torraven the Q damage. Vangstead has realized what's going on, but it might be too little too late as Denzel comes over the wall now, though Scroody will give up his life. It's going to be the Tryndamere taking the kill. But goodness me, that was some indecision on the top side from Rising Dawn.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like FireL's kind of irritated with that situation. 2 deaths. Did pick up on most of the Krog camp, but still, 22 CS at 5 minutes is not really where you want to be on the Karthus, so hopefully we'll be able to return to his jungle and just farm up immediately. Wasn't able to pick up on either of the Skull Crabs because of the way the lane priority has been going for Munster. Decent start. I do feel like Munster, again, you know, if you're talking about how 12-10 has looked, pound for pound, you would argue they have the much stronger champions, to be honest with you. You haven't seen much Aphelios, actually any Aphelios, on this patch, to be entirely honest with you. A lot of comfort coming out for Rising Dawn across the board, being met full force of meta. See what they can do for now. Solo kill for Vanga on the top side, instead. Crest over level 6. We'll see whether or not, once that Requiem comes online, that's where I feel like things start to look up for Rising Dawn, because then they can truly look to, you know, allow their solo laners to try and get a little more aggressive onto their lane opponents, particularly, of course, Darius on the top side, and just have the Requiem finish up. The kill was Rising Dawn send some support to Tryndamere's way, and Scroody trying to get a reset in for Harbour potentially, or just a rotation down towards the Dragon perhaps.
Still in the mid lane has managed to hit level 6, so he's going to start angrily shouting every play that he gets into from now on, which is going to be excellent content as Munster Rugby Gaming going to move towards this dragon. 6.5 minutes in. Skewer will catch Vangsted on the back, but doesn't actually attempt to stop him because he manages to move away himself. Munster Rugby Gaming going to be able to secure themselves an Ocean Dragon. No contest being thrown down by Rising Dawn Esports, and Skewer is able to skip away from Vangsted in this situation because we know how good his Darius is. We saw even against Icy Gale's Rengar, of course, Icy Gale now up substitute for X7 Esports in the top tier of the NLC, and he went blow with blow.
Yeah, pound to pound, really. So we know how good Vangsted is on this Darius. It's going to be about whether or not he can actually get any more out of it beyond this point. Still 7 minutes into the game, so plenty of time left. And I can't count on one hand how many times I've seen these niche pocket pick Dariuses this season, actually, a lot more than I've seen over the last couple of years. Absolutely pop off in the mid game, even if it doesn't really have a super successful laning phase. But right now, Vangsted sitting pretty comfortably in this game. 60 CS, 101, working towards the Triforce. Definitely feel very, very powerful once he has that Mythic online. Again, I think it's just going to be about scaling game for Rising Dawn. But the issue is, you look towards the Munster side, and I mean, Ivern, Karma, being able to buff up the bruises, being able to buff up Latch on this Jinx. There's going to be so much to deal with. Not sure whether they'll be able to do it as Lantern comes in. This is why he used to bring the Thresh, but how much can it survive?
Yeah, they're going to take a beating, but it was just jump away. Fine Forever feeling pretty decent about that one. Blows the flash, but has Hex Blaster. Is still going to be able to utilize it aggressively. You've got to imagine, but maybe not to escape. We're going to see another scrap over this blue buff as most from both teams are moving in. Scrooty taking a big amount of damage. Going to use the ultimate and going to try and jump away. But Fine Forever lands the hook. The damage is there. The support is there. Limitless with the kill. Now Denzel gets the slow onto Pecky. He might like to flash over the wall, but he's going to be caught out by the Tryndamere. But Latch is there as well. It's a 2v1. But Denzel, of course, has the ultimate. Has going to flash. Is going to ghost. Is going to look forward. Pecky going to be taken low, but doesn't go down just yet. Denzel able to secure it and still has the ultimate available. In the top side, Vangsted putting some damage down into Skewer. Probably not enough to secure any kind of kill, but again, just letting him know he's there is another decent play, as Vangsted is the hemorrhage gonna be enough to take down Skewer. Vangsted knows it is, as Skewer manages to survive, but there's the auto attack. Vangsted secures the kill.
I'm not sure why did Skewer walk back up. Was he still bleeding now? I'm pretty sure the bleed stacks were gone. But nonetheless, Vangsted finds himself another solo kill, and that's exactly what he needed to do.
Thinking about it, but Vangsted still feeling a little bit confident, has some healing in his kit, and Scroody's just going to clear out the minions.
Yep. Just be able to clear out the minions. Vangsted won't get too many more plates off the back of that play, but solo kill again on the top side, and Rising Dawn went out on the bottom side. And Munster just over-aggress onto that blue buff, really trying to put Karthus down, and sure, it's important to keep a Karthus down, but right now, if you pull up the scoreboard, you'll see, I mean, level 7, both junglers, the CS difference really isn't really, something that's gonna be of much difference to the game right now, simply because FireOut just isn't that far behind.
No, he's not been set too far behind at all, and for Rising Dawn, there will be solace in that fact, as Harbo needs to be a little bit careful. Of course, the Ivern is just going to be able to sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride from this stage, as you mentioned earlier. The ability for Tryndamere to run you down and kill you, especially when that tower is standing in the mid lane, is pretty low. As Denzel just going to clear out the farm. It'd be good to see how we're doing in terms of gold on both of these teams individually. Just a little check over. As you can see, items. We've seen a mythic picked up only by Vangsted, the Trinity Force on the Darius, as he's preferring to do, with a little bit more damage, a little bit less tankiness, because why would you need it?
Definitely. He's Vangsted. Why would he need the extra resists when the patch is giving it to him? That's his fault.
Exactly. He's going to grab in Skewer, going to get the damage down, and this is going to be a full-blown fight. Skewer might actually have the run of this one. It's the shutdown for Gwen. She still does hilarious damage, as Vangsted maybe a little bit over-eager.
Yeah, so that's a 2022 champion, because let's be real, 1.6k gold down. We're talking about, I think it was steel plates, plus Ruby Crystal and a Amp Tome versus an entire Trinity Force. And yes, Vangsted did of course misstep, taking a whole bunch of damage from tower, but still a hilarious amount of damage, like you said. Ignite also aiding some of that damage. Harbo, wow.
He can survive one, he maybe can survive two, but three is just too many. It's Denzel on a killing spree as he takes down the tree.
Down the tree, and now they're going to be able to pick up a couple of plates. In the mid lane, Herald is not on their side. It's in Scroody's pocket. going to be a tower taken just yet, but Limitless and Fine Forever will rotate back down to the bottom side of the map. There's FatRL just covering for the lane. At the very least, Rising Dawn, even though they lose out on the top side, they will pick up in the mid lane some of the gold that was just recovered by Skua from that shutdown of Bankstead.
Dragon is up and on the menu. It's Munster Rugby Gaming who have started it, but Rising Dawn Esports do know it's happening. They decide against going for the contest Fine Forever on his little lonesome. It's fine just leaving that one. Scrooty is actually going to drop it immediately in the bot side. That's quite an interesting placement.
Yeah, I mean, giving it to Jinx is always okay, but I think maybe timer was starting to tick as well. Latch trying to do his best to get in range, but I'm actually not too sure he did. And now
RL. He's moving forward, trying to get onto Peggy, but will get tethered up. Limitless stepping forward, trying to get some damage down. Won't be able to land too much though. Here's Scrooty, gets the ultimate onto 2. There's a lot of damage going down onto Carvers. Remember, he will be able to continue to fight for a few seconds longer. Limitless goes low, manages to survive, but gets taken down by one more rocket from Latch as FatRL finally bleeds off. Fine Forever looking for a way back. Denzel's here though. He's ghosting and he's trying to make a couple look dead as Latch and Pecky a little bit too safely positioned, will not get taken down. It's a good exchange for Munster Rugby Gaming.
Yep, definitely okay. 4 months there, to be honest with you. Pick up 2, only lose 1. Scrooty, 2-man armor into a 3-man knock-up as well. Really helps secure those kills, but for now, I think Rising Dawn across the map still going to be okay for the moment. Still several thousand gold up, but they are down those 2 dragons. Cloud Soul is the dragon on the menu. So they're not going to feel too bad about losing those early dragons either. I'm kind of sad that we have a matchup as explosive as this met with a Cloud Soul.
You know, there's some speed around the map though. Maybe the bonus isn't good, but the rift itself is a little bit... Did you just snore at me?
Cloud Soul, I'm snoring. Come on, give us an Infernal Riot. That's what we needed this game.
Or a Hex Tech.
It would have been the way.
Pretty funny.
It would have been the way, but we didn't get it. Now,
oh, that's a very nice hook coming through. He's managed to get onto Peggy. He's going to flash away, but the tether onto Fine Forever. Might see him in a little bit of trouble. FatRL floating away, takes a decent chunk from Scrooty, who's still on the chase as members are moving forward from Munster Rugby Gaming. FatRL still trying to get away, but gets sniped and taken down by the Wukong. But now the passive from Carvers is going to seal the fate of at least one, with the Q popping onto the monkey. That is the Wukong dead. Harbour managed to survive this time around, though. So it will be a 1-for-1 exchange. Fine Forever looking for the angle. Didn't find it this time around as Latch looks to press on, but Limitless is there. It's 2-for-1. But the Jinx is doing a lot of damage at the moment. And in the end, it's just going to be a 1-for-1 trade. But Limitless actually still stepping forward, trying to get some damage down onto Latch. Will be able to get a little bit more poke down. Harbour's in the wings with Daisy. And it should be okay.
why did you say Daisy?
Because that's how he says it. He asks, he's like, Daisy!
Okay, there we go. I got you to do the Ivern impression.
Maybe not with this skin, which it seems like he's more like edgy than that. I only play with Candy King.
Weird feel, as opposed to Ivern's very normal, cheery self.
Yeah.
Kind of has like a sad wood tree, like from Elden Ring.
Oh, I don't like that. That's much less fun.
That is much less fun. As I think for now, stalemate until this next dragon spawns up. Herald is actually also coming up relatively shortly, but Rising Dawn, Denzel will start his split push shenanigans early on into this game, and we'll pick up this tier 1 on the bottom side. The Rising Dawn aren't really in the position to really cover the split, so if after this mid lane push they start to collapse down towards the bottom side and take control of the river towards, maybe they can collapse, but instead they're actually pushing forward into Rising Dawn and could look for an engage.
Ooh, a lot of damage coming on down from Scrooty as Fine Forever goes low, will be removed, but the dive is a step too far for Scrooty as he'll exchange his life. It was only actually a 1-for-1. Denzel moving forward now. The ultimate coming through from Carvers. Don't know if it will catch anyone really. As Latch takes a little bit, Pecky a little bit more, but no one goes down. But Latch might have overextended, overstayed his welcome, and he will fall. Denzel takes one more tower shot, but does not die. As Rising Dawn Esports turn it around.
And that one around very happily, and Bankstead is just diving Harbour underneath this tower.
I'm not so sure. Vangsted's going to try and heal, but he can't heal off Daisy as Harbour jauntily, well, less jauntily with the skin, will chase Vangstead away. The Rift Herald is the focus for Rising Dawn Esports, and it looks like they'll be able to secure it without any hassle, as it is taken up by Fat RL.
Yeah, that was really strange. Vankstead actually ulted, right? Like, I saw him jump in the air,
Yeah,
but
but then it like didn't go through.
didn't go through. Never seen that before. Unless there was a bush underneath the tower, and I just didn't see it, and that was the vision that cancelled the ultimate, which I've definitely seen a bunch of times. I think that was likely the case. Now, Dragon, 10 seconds up. Munster, they're the ones who are first to this river, and Latch is also pushing in the mid lane. Take a quick stock of items. There's mythics across the board. Vice Bankstead with 2 items over Skewer. The only real place where there is a major item discrepancy. How much will Bankstead be able to do without any summoner spells? No summoner spells on Harbo either, and Latch is about to have his flash up. Those are the key things to track.
We're going to keep track of those during this team fight. Third Dragon is always an interesting one, because both teams will have a few tools to work with, and it's often a good indicator of how things are going to go. But Skewer takes a lot of damage there. Fine Forever also going to be chunked low. Denzel needs to be careful. The Dragon has joined the fray as well. Skewer needs to be careful. It's dunked on by Vankstead. The kill is secured as the fight will continue. It's another going over. Harbour gets the kill onto Fat IRL. Denzel picking up another. And it's Rising Dawn Esports who managed to take the fight, pick up 2 kills as well. It's a 2-for-1 exchange, and the Dragon is also theirs.
Yeah, it's just Munster walking forward and not expecting Bankstead to get the apprehend on the moving forward members there from the side, and being able to blow up those members so quickly, burst them down. That's what wins Rising Dawn that fight. Even though Fire does die, losing out on the Gwen, losing out on Scrudy is such a pivotal part of how Munster can really team fight, disrupt the backline that Rising Dawn do have, which means that Munster don't have the gas in the tank. The petrol. I'm English, I promise. And Munster,
You spent too long in America.
I spent too long in America. I really did. 2 weeks, 2 kilos is how much I put on.
Oh my words.
Food's good, man. What can I say?
It is good. This is true. You are correct. You don't have to tell me that. But Rising Dawn Esports, they've been keeping some pressure on. The Gold League looks very, very nice for them. Munster Rugby Gaming have some decent tools moving forward and have hit spikes in nice places. I'm keeping an eye on that Cull for Latch, because he does have only 20 farm on that one to get the cash out, and should be able to pick up a second item off the back of it. You've got to imagine with the way that he's been farming up.
Pretty
So-
late coal purchase. When you think, he's about to hit Cull at 200 CS. Not often we see that one, but still, coal. I mean, realistically, anytime you buy it, you are getting a return on investment. So,
Bagstead, what are you up to? Bagstead, okay, he gets out. He's fine. Don't worry about it.
oh, same with Denzel on the side here with Scrudy, fighting him over some chickens. As Rising Dawn really have firmly taken control of this game in the gold department, in particular 6,000 up. While that lead is in the top side. Items though still close enough that Munster, they can look for fights like this and still win.
Ooh, that RL. He's the one that's picked off in the end. Does have that passive, but there's no one for him to catch, and the ultimate wouldn't really achieve very much. Was just holding that one off and will go down. They need to be a little bit careful. The confidence of Rising Dawn Esports is good, but when there's nothing to fight over, losing their jungler randomly isn't necessarily optimal.
Fire is currently not smurfing in this game. 2-6-7, unfortunately. Call out dead. Lennon wasn't enough to save him. But it's still good for Munster to just very quickly lock him down. Knock him up. Scrudy not really being afraid to just pull the trigger on his ultimate. Munster hold on, and I mean, again, the scaling aspects of this composition, very, very strong, right? You know, the double enchanter, double bruiser with an Ivern in particular, can be very powerful and irritating to deal with. And, you know, things like shield cutting from Serpent's Fang, I'm not really sure who's going to be able to fit that into their build path efficiently. The healing of Moonstone will start to come in from Harbour, and great from both Harbour and Pecky, in my opinion, to split both Moonstone and Shirley's respectively. But honestly, even double stacking Moonstone can be pretty oppressive, to be honest with you. But Rising Dawn, I think, really just need to find a way to slap Munster with their wallet, because right now they are still significantly further ahead of Munster, I beg your pardon. So far up that they are still finding themselves with gold bounties on the objectives for Munster. And all it really takes, especially we saw it plenty of times in spring 2021, one good team fight from Jinx is all it takes for a game to flip on its head.
Absolutely, and with Latch at the wheel, that could definitely happen in the blink of an eye. It's fine forever. Let's be a little bit careful. As overextended, Limitless is there. The damage is coming through from him, but he's not going to be able to save his support. And now actually might be in trouble himself as Scrooty gets the second ultimate down. Fat RL, though, is going to be able to drop the exhaust. Damage coming through onto the monkey is big, and Wukong does fall. Vangstead secures the kill. The fight is continuing, though, as Fat RL finally cut down by Skew, gets dunked by Vangstead. Denzel onto the tower. Just goes down because there's no one else with him, but he manages to get a kill, a shutdown onto him as well. Fat RL managed to get the kill onto Pecky, so the Trinidad diving forward did allow something to occur, but it's still going on as Vangstead steps forward, but I'm not sure if Latch and Harbour are really the people you want to be messing with between two towers, as he's going to just step up with Limitless and hopefully take down this mid lane turret.
Really great turret placement from Limitless as well. Blocks off Harbour from being able to step up and try and clear the wave. I mean, given how Vangstead just flashed on his face, I think he would have just simply tried to do the exact same thing without flash. As Horizon Dawn went out on the exchange. Realistically, they pick up that mid lane tier 2. The rest of the team respawns back out onto the map. Resets back out onto the map. Let's try and take down this next dragon. Again, some of the spells tracking those. Latch lost that in the last team fight. Harbo lost that on the last team fight. So did Pecky on the opposite side. Some of the spells only really available to Limitless and Fine Forever. We're talking about the flashes. See, they can be used for in this next team fight because Munster's key carries don't actually have them. It's just Scrooty who's going to be looking for the backline potentially. No Dragon Contest even comes down. This Fat Arrow that picked that one up. 2 dragons to the good of Rising Dawn. Munster probably doing the right thing and just not trying to fight right now. They probably still feel like they are the weaker team.
Oh, Scrooty is going to step towards Fine Forever. Gets a hefty chunk down with his staff, but Fine Forever is going to be able to motor away from this situation. And you can see, as you mentioned, Baron's available. Are we going to see either team? Is either team really able just to start it up? Is that something they can do? We've seen it a lot today, but with these two team compositions, they can do it quickly, but I'm not sure how safely.
Yeah, I mean, I think Rising Dawn's Baron is particularly quick if you can get, of course, the Aphelios with the correct guns, green, white, red, white. Effectively, as long as he has chakras, to be honest with you, and Fire Leandri's on Karthus. Karthus is one of the better and faster junglers in the game, of course, to clear away those objectives. So if Rising Dawn get, I don't know, even 15 seconds less than on the Baron, they will absolutely shred it, but it's about Munster handing them that time, and realistically, will they give that to them? I'm not too sure, and I think doing Baron, putting yourself in the pit, really does set yourself up for a massive ultimate from Scrooty to be followed up by Skewer. All it takes is one death for Jinx to get excited and start the rundown.
And because you had a fight here, Rising Dawn Esports are spread out a little bit across the map, but they're very grouped up in the river. One big ultimate could have been enough, but Vangstead is just trying to get some sieging down, but Harbour and Skewer have both arrived to keep him away. It's going to be a 2v1. How does Vangstead fare in these situations? Not brilliantly, as it turns out. Takes the tower shot as well, and it will just be the shutdown from Skewer. Harbour very mildly involved in that one. Did use his ultimate in the end, but looks like Rising Dawn Esports just going to lose their top layer and not really gain anything for their troubles.
Yeah, and I mean, even though Vangstead is very strong, look at his itemization. He just doesn't have any EMR. No respect for Skewer. Oh, Harbour showing up there, so all of that magic resist. Or no magic resist. Really showing that as Gwen snips him down to size. And now, Munster looking for this Baron opportunity. That's a big grab at ultimate.
Good route, and there's the ultimate coming through from the Karthus as well. That's a big chunk as members dive on forward, but Fine Forever goes very, very low. You can see in the pit, Denzel's trying to get work done, doesn't have the ultimate available. Scrooty's still alive somehow, but the Baron is going so low. Denzel's going to try and finish it off. It's going to be secured by Fat IRL. Rising Dawn Esports absolutely clean up shop as they grab themselves the ace and the objective.
Disaster for Munster. They try and get the Baron done because they know Vangstead's dead. They have a numbers advantage, but it just doesn't work for them. They get absolutely mosh pitted in the Baron pit as Denzel just cleans house with the Ghost, with the ultimate, unable to die. He picks up the first kill, quickly resets with the Navori Blades. Because he's critting, he's getting that Spinach Slash back so quickly. With all the crits, he is mincing what is effectively a very squishy Munster Rugby lineup to him. Now they have the Baron. Dragon Soul, not really a thought in either team's mind, if I'm to be honest with you. And I think with this Baron, they're going to just look to push. Try and break open the base. Very limited lack of engage options on both sides, but I still expect that we're going to see Vangstead flashing forward with an apprehend, or, you know, finding a death sentence, which turns into a huge team fight very quickly.
Well, I mean, Munster Rugby Gaming, they've stumbled, but they haven't fallen. They've still got plenty of tools if that team fight does kick off. And of course, Vangstead seems to be playing PvE again down on the bot side. Not super interested in playing with the other children, as he's just hanging around in the bot lane, gonna barret up these minions. And Skewer has proven to be more than a match in certain situations, but does need to be a little bit careful as Fine Forever turning on up. As Munster Rugby Gaming sending members down towards the Darius.
We just don't want Darius to enter through a tower too quickly. That Triforce, honestly, and the auto attack resets can really rinse it. We'll show up a little bit late to buff up the wave, but you never show up too late to dance and taunt your enemies if you are Vangstead. There's Scrudy trying to stick to him. A lot of damage coming through actually in edge.
A lot of damage coming on Vangstead. It's going to have to ghost away, trying to get the heal down, but it's not too big. And with Peggy coming through as well, Vangstead, don't go back in! What are you doing? He's going to dive back through, gets the dive, gets the kill! As he's looking potentially even more on the top side. Vangstead, what? There's another coming through for the team as it's Rising Dawn Esports who take down a couple. It's actually going to be Fat IRL with the kill credit on that one as they look to press forward. Limitless is there. Pecky will get shot down, survives on a sliver of health, but Latch is not so lucky. The inhibitor will fall as well. Rising Dawn Esports with Vangstead at the vanguard. Maybe we'll just end this game.
Viperune, you told them not to go back in, but you don't understand it. Vanga diff, and now it's all up to Skewer, the other top laner, but it is not enough for him. Gwen is not immune enough to stand in front of 5 champions of Rising Dawn. They will pick up their victory in an emphatic ending, at the very least. The game really did take a big slowdown, but 28 minutes on the clock, this is definitely the bloodiest game that we've had all day.
Vangstead was like, I've actually got dinner in 5 minutes, so I need to, can we wrap this one up? I need to be gone. I've got chicken in the oven. So he just, you know, decided to engage and it worked out. And you said like, hey, I can just see Vangstead's going to go in, flash for an apprehend or something, and he's going to start a big team fight. Turns out the big team fight was him going to single digit health and then bundling into 3 of them with just the fresh and support, which, hey, if it's going to work, it's going to work. And that's exactly what it did. We're going to jump to a short break. When we come back, we've got interviews for you. So don't go anywhere. We'll see you in a few minutes.